Alright, study guide questions 39 through 45. Number 39. How many sides does a regular polygon have if each exterior angle measures 45 degrees? If each exterior angle measures 45 degrees, well, all of the exterior angles have to sum 360 on all polygons. So if you take 360 and you divide it by 45 degrees, which is how much each angle is, it'll tell you how many there are. So 360 divided by 45, 8. 8 sides. It's an octagon. Number 40, find the values of the variables. In the parallelogram. So here's your diagram. Top's parallel to the bottom. Left side is parallel to the right side. You got a 26 degrees, a 120 degrees, Z, X, and Y. Okay, in this top triangle, if you just take 180 and you subtract 120 and you subtract 26, that will allow you to solve for Y. So probably 34 degrees. Alright, so angle Y equals 34 degrees. Now, let's see. In a parallelogram, opposite angles are congruent. Alright, so if this angle up top is 120, if this angle is 120, then angle Z is also 120. If this left side is parallel to this right side, then this diagonal right here, or I'm sorry, if the top is parallel to the bottom, this top piece is parallel to this bottom piece, then this red line becomes a transversal. And the 26 and the X are alternate interior angles, and those are congruent to each other. So your X is equal to 26 degrees. Your Y is equal to 34 degrees, and Z equals 120. Number 41. Alright, angle 2 is 3x minus 18. Angle 4 is 2x minus 5. Find the measure of angle 1, and angle 1 is right here. Alright, so again, in parallelograms, opposite angles are congruent. So these two angles are congruent. Your 3x minus 18 is equal to 2x minus 5. What you have to do in this problem is solve for x first, because this angle up top, or both of these given angles, are supplementary with angle 1, and angle 1 is what you need to find. So you have to solve for x first, you have to substitute it, and then you have to subtract that from 180 to get angle 1. So if you subtract 2x from each side of this equation, then x minus 18 is equal to negative 5. And if you add 18 to each side, then x is equal to 13. If your x is equal to 13, you could substitute it in either expression. I'm going to substitute it up top. So you got 2 times 13 minus 5. So that's 26 minus 5. 26 minus 5 is 21. So this angle up top is 21 degrees. This angle up top and angle 1 are consecutive angles, and consecutive angles in a parallelogram are supplementary. So if you take 180, subtract the 21, you're left with 159 degrees, and that's what the measure of angle 1 is equal to. Right there. You got a 21 and you got a 159. Number 42. This was just on your quiz very recently. In this case, you're told that the shape is a parallelogram. D to H is x plus 3. HF is 5y. GH is 4x minus 1. H to E is 4y plus 3. Find the value of x and y. Diagram is not to scale. So your setup, diagonals in a parallelogram bisect each other. So x plus 3 equals 5y. And what you're going to do is you're going to solve for x right here first by subtracting 3 from each side. So your x equals 5y minus 3. Now that you know what x equals, you're going to write another equation where your 4x minus 1 is equal to this 4y plus 3. And now, since you have two different variables, you've already solved for x, you're going to take this value of x and you're going to substitute it right here in this equation. So when you do that, you're going to have 4 times 5y minus 3 minus 1 equals 4y plus 3. You're going to do the distributive property. So 20y minus 12 minus 1 equals 4y plus 3. Next, you combine like terms. Combine this negative 12 and this negative 1. So 20y minus 13 equals 4y plus 3. Then you can subtract 4y from each side. So what's 20 minus 4? 16y minus 13 equals 3. And then you're going to add 13 to each side. So you're going to do all that work so that 16y is equal to 16. And when you divide by 16, y is equal to 1. Y is equal to 1. So if y is equal to 1, you go back here to this original equation that you wrote, and you make x plus 3 equal to 5 times 1. So x plus 3 equals 5 times 1 is 5, right? And subtract 3 from each side, and x equals 2. So there's your x for this problem, and there's your y. Yes, sir?
How do you get an x plus 3 when x plus 3 equals 5?
Because Diagonals bisect each other, so this expression is equal to this expression. These pieces right here in this parallelogram are congruent, and these pieces are congruent. All right, then you got 3 rhombus problems. And number 43, let's see, you got a rhombus there. And it's split in half. All right, in a rhombus, all the sides are parallel. I'm sorry, all the sides are congruent. In a rhombus, all the sides are congruent. Just think of a square that got pushed over a little bit. Okay? Diagonals are perpendicular. In a rhombus, diagonals are perpendicular. Okay? Diagonals also bisect opposite angles. Alright? So, all the sides are congruent. The diagonals are perpendicular. And the diagonals bisect opposite angles. That means that this horizontal line right here, it means that this piece is the same as this piece, which is the same as this and this. Alright? Now, in this case, you're given this is 148 degrees, and you're asked to find angle 2 and angle 3. So look, what you've got up top and on the bottom is 2 isosceles triangles. Okay? This angle up top is the same as this angle on the bottom. Alright, so the measure of angle 2 is 148 degrees. Now, since you've got an isosceles triangle down here, if you take 180 and you subtract the 148, alright, we're going to see how many degrees you got left. So 180 minus 148 is 32 degrees. In this bottom triangle, once you subtract this 148 degree angle, you've got 32 degrees left for angle 3 and this angle over here. So you got 2 angles left, and the angles are equal to each other. So if you take the 32 and you divide it by 2, you're left with 16 degrees. Alright? 16 degrees is your angle 3. So angle 2 is 148, angle 3 is 16. Number 44. You've got that picture again, and I'm not going to draw the picture because you've got it on your paper. If diagonals bisect each other, if diagonals are perpendicular, then angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3 are all 90 degrees. And so is that blank angle that's in the picture. So let's see, find the value of each variable. Well, 9x is equal to 90. And for angle 2, x plus y is equal to 90. And for angle 3, 2z is equal to 90. So going back to this first equation, if you divide both sides by 9, then these will cancel, and x equals 10. If you go to your second equation where there's an x and you replace it with a 10, then 10 plus y equals 90, and you can subtract 10 from each side. So y equals 80. And then for your z, if you divide both sides by 2, then z equals 45. So there's your x, there's your y, there's your z. And finally, number 45, another rhombus. With diagonals. Here's what you're given, that this is 10 degrees. Okay? Find the measure of each numbered angle. So you got angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3. Alright, angle 1 is right here. And we just said that diagonals are perpendicular, so this is 90. So angle 1 is 90. Angle 2 is down here. Alright? So look, if these diagonals bisect opposite angles, well, if this angle is 10, then this angle is 10. Alright? And if this angle is 10, then angle 2 down here is 10 degrees. So angle 2 is 10. Alright, angle 3 is over here. So, if the diagonals are perpendicular and this angle is 90, then this angle is 90. If diagonals bisect angles, then if this left side is 10, this right side is 10. And now in this triangle that's left over here on the right, you've got a 10 degree angle, a 90 degree angle, and you need angle 3. So take 180, subtract 90, and subtract 10. And you're left with 80 degrees. So angle 3 equals 80 degrees.